Good morning, everyone. It's April 23, 2024, 9:32 in the morning, and we're here looking at what the SPY is doing. So, SPY pre-market has a low of 498, and pre-market high is at 501. Looking at the daily here. Good morning, everyone. Has a little bit of a gap up, about to test that high of that yesterday's wick at 502.33, and we are watching the most gap up mid cap stacks. First is spot SPOT, a little bit of a high price stock, but we can put in our levels anyway. So pre-market low is at 262 with a pre-market high of 305. So that level right there is, let me just change the color of this, is, let's see, a big gap up, already up by 14.1%. This probably has a huge catalyst, the reason for that huge gap up. So GM as well is a gap up. It is up by 1.75 cents, and the daily looks good. It encountered a resistance at 45.94, having a little bit of a pullback right now. And what I'm looking at here is a potential for a, let's see here, a VWAP play where it had that pullback at the VWAP, and VWAP could have a good place to have this for a bounce. So let's look at our lower time frame and see whether it's forming and it's reversing. So I will be interested in doing a long here if it goes above 45.03, because that 45.03 is a higher than that previous candlestick right here. So that would be the level to trade off of. Pre-market low here. So let's see, 42.92. It is encountering that strong resistance right there, and yeah, looks like this one is still not ready for a push up. This one is retesting the support, most likely gonna break that support. Looking at AMD and Meta as well. Yeah, this is gonna break that support. Big order sitting right here at the bid. So let's see if our thesis is still there. So now I am going to lower this one down. So we'll be interested in doing a long at 45.03. That is a very strong resistance right there. 45.06 right here. It keeps encountering that resistance. Right now it's 44.80s. So it still is heading lower, although there is an order right here. Yeah, it disappeared, but looks like this is gonna break the support at 44.7. All right, we go back there later once we get to see what else is moving. So AMD pre-market is not as good. There is some movements right here without candlestick. Meta is not as good as well. Movements without candlestick here at the pre-market. While I'm doing my levels, I am still looking at GM. Look at GM right now, still not due for a pullback up. So pre-market low at JetBlue. This is one of our gap down is JetBlue down by 13.6. Looks like it encountered a support right there at 6, but we missed that, so we will look into that again later. Next one is Mara. Mara is part of a gap down. Mara was very active yesterday, and then Riot here, pre-market low with a pre-market high of 11.77. So that is Riot. Looking still at GM. Now we do have next one is AAL, American Airlines, which is a, yeah, let's see, also a gap down by 3.9%. All the way here is 14.8. So we're talking about just $1 move here. So that really is the best stock to trade. if we have any other stock that is actively moving, then we're better off trading that. SE, yeah, SE, no volume right now. Just gonna put the levels there. Pre-market low with a pre-market high of 61.1. GM here, 1 minute. Okay, so now we have that 9 EMA. Look at how this first candlestick here is bullish. We encountered the 9 EMA or 9 exponential moving average. I am doing long at GM here, and let's see if we can get the bounce here at GM. So I did maximize my entry here just because this is our A plus setup where you have a big gap up. That big gap up have a pullback at the 9 EMA. This is what we call a 9 EMA play, where you enter at the first bounce, and that first bounce did have that big support at a 9 exponential moving average. That 9 exponential moving average, this can have a potential all the way to the VWAP. I am trying to see if this is going to give us another pullback. In that way, we can add to that. But let's see, did not have a pullback, but it did had that bounce up all the way to 44.91. So let's see, there is a lot of buildup at the ask, so that is very bullish. So with that bullishness at the ask, I can hold this one at least and wait for a little bit of a push all the way to the 45 level. So right now we are trending good at this. Let's see, took some partial there, and now we are going to be trailing our stop loss here. So trailing our stop loss just behind that big rejection at VWAP. All right, so this can pretty much still be bullish, but I am not going to be entering this one just because look at the 5 minutes. 5 minutes looks like had a big rejection at the VWAP, but we were able to ride that one up. So with that, yeah, a very quick trade, and let's see if we can find any more trade. But with that GM, we were able to get 1900 with that. So yeah, this could have been a one and done trade if it did not stop me out. I would have to agree that my stop loss was very tight. That's because I did have a big position right here, but for the 5 minutes it still is looking bullish. So let's see if we can find something else. But yeah, right now I don't like at what is this, 15 minutes now. The thing is, 15 minutes, will it push above the VWAP or not? Our higher risk trade if we enter now, just because there is a big resistance at the VWAP, but the easy trade here was this when we entered. So let's see if we can find any other trades. JetBlue here looks like it had found a bounce. So JetBlue bounced here from 6 now to 6.64. Mara here for the last 3 days had been strong, but it also got hammered for the past several days. So that little bit of a bounce is kind of expected. AAL is now, look at how this consolidation is taking place. Rivian is just got hammered still and still at that 8.83, and so Yeah, always getting that rejection at 45, but is this the all-time high here? Okay, so not the all-time high. Ah, that pop right there. Oh my gosh. That could have been a one and done there. Yeah, that was a huge pop there. The one that we capture is 44.7 all the way to 45, so around 30 cents. Okay. We missed that move. Yeah, the good ad here could have been when this had a pullback at this level 45, and that would have been a 30 cents moved. This is still gonna test the VWAP 45, 45.14 here incoming. All right, so we are 10 minutes into the trading day, and if we don't see anything else that has an A plus setup, then we'll call it a day. So let's just do our recap. So good morning, everyone. I was a bit late this morning, just having some technical issues as well, and yeah, been feeling under the weather as well. So that's why I'm not gonna be pushing it and just gonna call it a day. Usually I look for a different stock to trade, but I also get to be sensitive with what my body's telling me. If you're not 100% 100% feeling okay, then it's okay to be conservative, and that's what we're going to be doing. SPY is pushing high right now, so for today we only traded one stock, and that is GM. So what we saw with GM was an A plus setup. We get to rinse and repeat this setup. This is what we call an A plus setup, and it's a 9 EMA play. So what is a 9 EMA play? Right now it's still pushing up. So a 9 EMA play is a stock that has a big gap up. For us, it is GM. It had gap up from, let's see here, right now it's up by 5.1%. So anything up by 3%, we get to, wow, this is gonna test the high of the day and push up even more. So anything above 3%, gap up, gap down, we take a look at that. And for GM, since it is up and met our criteria by more than 3%, then this hit our scanner. This is gonna go to 45.50 now. So right now it's actively being traded and with a volume of 6.4 million. This is a float of 1.15 billion. I did not even get to look at the news just because we did not have time to do so. What we're just looking at is our setup. So what I saw is, okay, you have a huge gap up right here at the daily, your 15 minutes, very clear here. You have the R4 and a big gap up. At the open, what we get to see with a 9 EMA play is you have a huge gap up where it will encounter some resistance. In this stock, the resistance that it encountered is the pre-market high. But we look at the daily, looking at a higher time frame, that resistance was encountered a couple of weeks ago, and that one was April 3rd when it had reached that 45.94 resistance. So that resistance was encountered again, a big rejection. So with the 9 EMA, you have a big gap up, and with the gap up, you don't want to enter when it's gapping up unless you have, your big ask, which is constantly printing, and you are at a very strong support, which is a VWAP, but that's a different strategy. That is a VWAP play. So for this one, what we saw was, and what we did was a big gap up. You don't want to enter when it's pushing higher. And I was saying earlier is, I look at GM stock at this time. So I was saying that if GM, when it was forming this candlestick, will go higher than the previous candlestick, meaning if this candlestick forms higher than this, then I will go long. So let's look at the trigger. This candlestick did not form higher than this. I was still looking at this. If this candlestick formed higher than this candlestick, I will pull the trigger. We did not get the trigger. Now we get to see that that support was broken. So now this is looking more enticing. It's more enticing because this is part of our strategy, because now what do we see here? We have our 9 EMA right there. So that 9 EMA, or 9 exponential moving average, is acting as a strong resistance. That's why when I was still putting my level, I saw this perfect hammer right here, A plus setup. Then I started to scale up and entered my position right there. So now we do have that pushed, and the 9 EMA acting as a support. Where is the stop loss? It's going to be below that wick, which is this. So I am risking this much, and the VWAP is all the way up there. So that is still more than 1 to 1 risk to reward ratio, just eyeballing it. So when I saw that this is a good setup, I loaded up here. And once I loaded up there, we had a very quick trade. So this happened at what is this, 9:35, 36 or 7:38. So 9:38. At 9:38, 9:39, we're done with the trade. We partial 9:39, and then 9:40 we went all out. Now the thing here is I have a very tight stop loss. I was actually trailing it, my stop loss, just because we are encountering the VWAP. But the thing is, there's a pros and cons of having a very tight stop loss. The negative thing is, just because I have this is gonna push higher, just because I have my stop loss very tight, I got stop out and did not capture that big move. So I still left at least 30 cents, and now this is gonna push higher in the table. But with that A plus setup, that high probability setup, I was able to have a bigger entry, bigger position right here. I was waiting for a little bit of a pullback so I can add to this, but it did not give us that pullback. So whatever I have here was just partialing 50% here at the VWAP, and then all out right here. So with that one trade, we got 1900. So let's see if it's gonna give us any other trades here. Now let's look at AAL. AAL here, now it's the opposite. It's a gap down. Now this gap down has potential for this one to even go lower, and that lower here just because of this big volume bar. So big volume bar here, I'm thinking of shorting AAL. Stop loss here is 14.19. Big volume bar right here, gonna have a very tight stop loss, 14.15. I don't see any imbalance right here at the bid and ask, so we have to be very careful with that. it has a big order sitting right here, 14.10. Now, with AAL, unlike the GM trade, this one, I don't see a big follow through happening. Plus, let's see, the ATR, 13.89, 14.19. So we're talking about, yeah, like 30 cents move here. I'm waiting for some confirmation. If this one breaks the support at 14.14, that's the time for me to add. So I did add to that position, to the short, but stop loss here is, since this is the wick at 14.19, I'm going to give it 0.01 like an allowance for me not to get stop out, because what market makers love to do is they would like to fill you with your position, because that's a commission for them before it actually will do the move. So at 14.14, I am going to be adding to this position again. The only thing that, so the way that I get to see this AAL is it's a gap down, big candlestick right here when it's pushing down. 14.20 is our stop loss here. Let's see, we are at the 20. I'm looking at the tape right here. 14.19, 20. Rejection at 20. All right, so all out at that. Let's see if there's anything else. ARM is doing spot here. High price stock. Rivian is now pushing up. Back in AAL here. Look at the volume bar right here. There's no volume at all. Yeah, there was a big resistance right there. That is the low of that wick from yesterday. So let's see here, 14.20. So AAL has the same sector as JetBlue. JetBlue, all those travel sectors, is pushing higher. Okay, so let's see here, big order at 14.10 here. $14.20. We're looking at this one, the tape, 14.19. And let's see if, so I am reshorting this one. Stop loss is giving it some room, 14.24. Five minutes still looking very bullish. Okay, big rejection there at 14.23. Hence it's on the trigger to add to this if it goes 14.18. So we'll be adding to this position at 14.18. JetBlue, let's see, having a little bit of a pullback. SPY just encountered R4. So R4 was a strong resistance for SPY. So now we are above the wick. Mara having a pullback, encountering R4. So if we look at AAL here, okay, and this is on the trigger, AAL now is the exact opposite of what we did with our GM trade. The 5 minutes not as clear as where the 9 EMA is, but if I turn off the pre-market data, look at where we're now. We are at that 9 EMA. So exactly the opposite. It is a gap down, but just looking at this one very carefully here. So we are at that 9 EMA, 14.24. 26 is the next resistance. And JetBlue is still just having a little bit of a pullback. So stop loss here is that 26. $27. Right, all out of that. This is not ready yet for a pullback. So unlike the GM, that's why it's very important for us to have that stop loss. This is the exact opposite now of GM. You have a gap down, then you don't want to enter a short when it's at the VWAP. You wanted to short it at the sign of weakness, which is if it shows you some signs of weakness at the 9 EMA. What I saw here was this anomaly at 951 where it had a very huge volume bar. So apparently this is not still done pushing up. We went all the way up 1427, which is a very strong resistance because that is yesterday's body or the low of the body of the yesterday. So right now what I'm waiting for, JetBlue is already looking weak here. Look at this one. So JetBlue is a good for a short here. So let's see here. Okay, I'm shorting JetBlue. And let's see, where is my, oh my gosh, AAL. I'm shorting AAL here as well. So I was out when I was shorting JetBlue. AAL already made that moved. So JetBlue here. The trigger that we get to see is this is the first red candlestick. So we went just below that first red candlestick. Wanted to add to this, but it just went so quick as well. So let's see if this one with JetBlue, this is at least cleaner trade than AAL, just because we have this is the flag that triggered us to see JetBlue as a potential. So just took some partial there. That one was a good move, and right now it's a good way to just trail our stop. So trailing our stop, and let's see, expect a little bit of bounce at the VWAP, but if this VWAP is broken, then we are able to expect a bigger move there. with AAL. It's about to break that support with AAL. So I'm waiting for me to add to this AAL trade. SPY just had a rejection at R4 as well. So that's going to help this trade. So JetBlue, perfect. So now we just trail our stop loss here. We're very close to the VWAP, very close to getting stop out. We're waiting for JetBlue to break that support, 6.51. AAL here, just adding to my short position with AAL. JetBlue already broke that support, lowering our stop loss. AAL here, let's see if this is gonna stop me out. So JetBlue 6.51, waiting for a bigger AAL. I don't like what AAL is doing here. So stop loss here. All right, JetBlue at least is working nicely. Trailing our stop loss here in JetBlue, but AAL is not looking too good because that 14.2 acted as a strong resistance. So 14.28 will be the stop loss here. Waiting for another push down. Apparently AAL is not the best short. So 14 point, let's see, very close to getting stop out here. JetBlue having a bit of a bounce as well. All right, out of AAL. That was a loss with AAL. And JetBlue here. Let's see if this is Rivian having a nice pullback. Okay, JetBlue, stop me out. AAL, let's see. AAL with the 5 minutes looking nice. All right, 5 minutes with AAL is looking short. So reshorting AAL here. Just building my position. So re-entering short with AAL. This one did stop me out twice. So this will be the last trade here. Rivian had a nice pullback. JetBlue already had a nice pullback as well. JetBlue stopped us out, but yeah, looks like this is still heading lower. AL on the other hand is still just consolidating here. 1425. Okay, SPY is pushing higher, so that's not good for shorts like me. average cost here. So right now we only have one open position, and that is AAL short at 14.25. JetBlue looks like it had encountered a support. We're still waiting for AAL to break that support, 14.25, but it is encountering that strong support. Five minutes looking weak. Only thing with the 5 minutes is this is gonna be a nicer setup if this one was inverted, where this one was an inverted hammer rather than a hammer right here. See if AAL is ready to break that support now. Oh wow, JetBlue. JetBlue is such a nice, easy trade here. AAL is the one that's, yeah, giving us a hard time. But this one was at least, this one was a premature short here. Let's see, just waiting for a bigger move. 14.24. JetBlue is still heading lower, which is good because, yeah, that will be the same sector as AAL. So the travel sector, I wonder what CCL is doing. CCL is just the same sector as AAL. All right, CCL. For this one is the cruise. AAL is, of course, American Airline. So yeah, someone is holding this support at 14.23. But look at how the imbalance now is starting. We have a bunch of bid sitting at 14.10. So that is very bearish because someone knows that the price will come to them and they were not desperate enough to sell it, and what they're waiting for is the price to come to them. So let's see. So 5 minutes here looking weak. We have lower lows. Okay, finally now 14.2. If you are observing this, you get to see how weaky this stock is compared to JetBlue. JetBlue, we were able to write it down and it was just a very smooth trade, unlike AAL here. So could be just big institution as well. All right, another support at 14.22, 14.26. We're back in that resistance, 14.26. Mara looking nice to the short. Mara is all the way to the R4. Riot is all the way to close to the R4, but this is the first red candlestick in Mara. And let's see, 19.3 potential for a short. Thing is, yeah, it's still not definite that this is gonna end as a red candlestick. We don't see any anomaly right here. Next resistance is 19.75. They can just push this up to 20 as well. Let's look at our higher time frame. So the 15 minutes, 14.33. That is the highest of this candlestick for now. JetBlue here, stop us out, but it's looking nice. All right, AAL here is still just consolidating. Rejection again at 28. So what I'm seeing with AAL now is this one, unlike when we were at that 14.22 level, there is a big push through up. Now what I see is every time it has that big push up like this, 14.28, that is just a spike. So there's no more follow through that's happening. No follow through, hence we get to see those wicks now. So 14.28, big rejection there after it quickly touches that 14.28, then the big rejection. So yeah, we'll just wait for this to consolidate. So this is the reason why I was saying earlier about Mara, that 5 minutes is not yet done forming, and that 5 minutes can just be a green candlestick or a white candlestick with my chart. And that's why I wasn't keen in shorting that one. Roku on the other hand, yeah, Roku here, it's looking nice, but good short here is at 61.96. I don't like that there's a big push up there. All right, back to AAL. AAL retested that level again, 14.28. Will that level, yeah, another rejection there, 14.28. Big rejection. So now what we're waiting for is a big candlestick. Now this candlestick has that rejection at 14.28, and the volume bar is starting to increase. But AAL is just not as clean as JetBlue. I wonder if that the planes I don't think with regards to their planes that is applicable. I'm just referring to the stock. So okay, the volume bar is increasing. That's very promising because that is an inverted hammer right there. This is a doji. When we are at the doji or signs of indecision at 10:10, the volume is not there. So this is ready for a pull back. Because that indecision right there is not a lot of volume that came through. I was wanting to put additional shares here. I wanted to add to my position, yeah. So now we broke that support. So now we have 14.2. It took a while, but we were analyzing that volume bar when we said that, okay, volume bar is starting to pick up. Look at this big volume bar now. Now the shorts are on the driver's seat here. Now, of course, this one can also just retest that, but volume bar is there. If we have another big volume bar right here, then yeah, this is gonna be even better for shorts. All right, another support encountered at 14.2. which is a couple of touches with this candlestick. Totally fine. All right, just looking at what other stock is moving. Microsoft, high price stock though. Roku here, we're looking at, that was a potential for a short. Did not get to pull the trigger because we saw it when this candlestick was forming. All right, so let's just look at the anomalies that can happen here with AAL. Look at this. Small volume bar, big candlestick. Now we get to see the anomaly. This is the volume price analysis here. Market maker is trying to show us and make us believe that this is pushing higher when it does not have the volume bar to support it. There is a big volume bar forming right here, but this is first anomaly here. Although we have to be very careful because this anomaly already happened with this, where there is a big volume bar, but it still was able to manage to push higher. But now look at this very tiny volume bar, and yeah, this one, let's see here, actually gonna be, let's see if I can add to my position here to the short. All right, so just added to my position to the short because of this anomaly right here. So with that add, 14.24 is my new average costs. And JetBlue found the support. What I don't like with AAL is look at how dirty this one looks like. You have all the consolidation that's happening here, and if you even look further enough, it's like already algorithmic trades. So that's the thing that I am not liking about AAL, because this one is now already on the dot with that moves, so you know that you are working against computer. But with that computer, they cannot hide the anomaly that this one, they are making you think that this is still gonna push higher when there are no volume to support it. And that's the reason why I added to my short here, because of that big anomaly. So those certain clues you get to pick up on, the more you get to look at your charts. That's why you always get to study the chart, look at the price movement. What I've been seeing here is, even here was that rejection. Every time it touched 14.28, it gets rejected, hence it creates that wick. So now that wick right there is already screaming at our face that, yeah, the bears are taking control of this one now. So volume bar is still medium here, 1422. Look at this one, 1410 is sitting right here, which is, yeah. So what I'm seeing here is this is very algorithmic. There are a bunch of computers trying to just have AAL move back and forth, because imagine those computers, those algorithmic movements, they basically just need to show that there are some movements happening with a stock. It doesn't have to be some retail traders going back and forth, but their job is to show some actions with a particular stock. And that's why when, let's say, a wick is right on the dot, just like here, you cannot have that conclusion that that's retail traders, because retail traders will have some position that can have slippage. So those slippage, they can be filled at this level, they can be filled at this level. So there would be different places where you will see the wick. Unlike with AAL here, the wick is right on the dot, right on the 14.26. So yeah, that's the thing that doesn't excite me, because if you are not trading with the retail traders and you're just trading with bunch of algos, then those bunch of algos as well can just be shaken up so easily that once it decides where it wants to go, then you cannot make a logical explanation with it. Unlike, what we see with retail traders is, since we are all traders are watching the same thing, that means we are creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. So a trader A, a trader B watching a setup that's looking like, let's see here. All right, so I just covered that one. It's just so wiki that it can still move, but I am paper-handed because I already encountered a loss here, and I don't like that this is looking algorithmic. So I just covered all my position. So what I'm saying is, retail, let's say trader A or trader A to Z, is we're all looking for a trade that is, a VWAP trade, or a trade that is a 9 EMA trade. So if we are all looking at that setup, we are technically creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, just because once it hits that level, then we go in and we all short that level. This is still gonna go head down, and that's how self-fulfilling prophecy works. But since I don't see this algorithmic, kind of turns me off, so yeah, I just closed my position. All right, so we traded 3 stocks today. It's less than an hour into the market, and we are done with the trade. So we traded GM, JetBlue, and AAL. AAL, not the cleanest stock to trade. I do have that. Wow. I do have that analysis. Oh my gosh. This is gonna get to VWAP. So 14.2, 14.16.04. That's painful to watch. But yeah, we're done with the trade. All right, so let's look at what AAL did. So AAL, I was in the middle of my GM trade. So we already did a recap with the GM, and with the AAL, what I saw was just exactly the opposite of GM. So that's how you get to have an edge with the market, is when you have your strategy, you just rinse and repeat that strategy. You don't have to make it a fancy strategy, recreate the strategy. As long as it's working, you just rinse and repeat it. You get to find that strategy by interjecting all other analysis. With us, we were doing that with volume price analysis. So with AAL, exactly the opposite of what GM did. You have a big gap down. Anything above 3% or anything more than 3%, that is a gap down. We take that into consideration. We get that from our watch list or from our scanner, and we look at it and prioritize that stock. So with AAL, it is a gap down by initially more than 3%. So huge gap down here. This is our level. Let's look at this level right here. So our pre-market level, we have the pre-market low, pre-market high 14.8. So we are just in the middle of that. I like turning it off just because I get to see clearly where my 9 exponential moving average is. So initially, as soon as we finished our GM trade, I was ready to call it a day, but I did see some A+ setup. So with AAL, huge gap down. I was waiting for a sign of weakness. Now, if you notice, this one was not an A plus setup, and it's not an A plus setup compared to the GM, because what GM did was it went to the 9 EMA before it got the rejection. Now, where am I shorting this one? I was shorting this one with anticipation that this big candlestick is a bit overextended without having the strong resistance to trade off of. And that's the thing. And that's why I paid for that trade. So got stop out, tried another one, got stop out again. Now we are heading to that very interesting strong resistance, which is this 9 EMA. So what strategy am I doing here? The same thing as what we did with GM, and that is the 9 EMA, where with the GM, just because it's a gap up, we just did exactly the opposite. With a gap down, you have a huge gap down, you have your 9 EMA, you short it once you get to see a strong rejection or strong resistance at the 9 EMA. So I did not have to suffer the loss here as well as here as well as here. So 1, 2, 3 losses here, if only I was patient enough to wait for that 9 EMA. Because imagine this 3 stabs here could have been prevented if I just waited for this. That is your 9 EMA, where it's the trigger just going below the previous candlestick low. So you have the 9 EMA going below the previous candlestick low. So a good entry here could have been a short here. Now it's breaking the VWAP after I get out of it. And what I did was I saw this hammer, still not the A plus setup. The A plus setup there could have been a hammer, an inverted hammer. So just like that, and short right here. But since it's a hammer, not an inverted one, that makes it not an A plus setup. So I shorted it here. And then while we were looking at this stock, what I saw is that anomaly starting to build up. And that's the reason why, if you look at this, you'll see that, oh, what is this add? Why did I chose to add there? The reason why I added there is this ad right here is actually this ad right here at the 1 minute. Now, how do we get to include all our analysis? With the 1 minute, what I saw is the market maker is making us think that this is still gonna be pushing higher when there is no volume to support it. So the reason why I add a short here is because look at that previous candlestick and the corresponding volume bar. So this candlestick right here, when it was pushing at 14.26, has this tiny volume bar. When I saw that, okay, they're trying to deceive us, showing that, oh, this still is strong, but it's not. So, okay, added to my position. And then I went all out here as soon as I saw that I'm green. Now that's not a plus way to trade, because if you're patient enough for that move, then you should be able to manage your exit as well. Exit meaning 25 cents partial or 50 cents partial, and then just trailing our stop. I am not that patient when it comes to this trade because of the 3 stabs, first stab, second stab, third stab, that I was red on the trade. So with that, having 3 stabs that I'm red, I am paper-handed. So as soon as I saw the green, this is trading off of my P&L. I just went all out, but look at how much I left in the table. But that's totally fine. I just did not want to see any red trades. So that is the AAL or American Airline trade. Next one is JetBlue. While we were in AAL, I was calling out JetBlue as well, just because JetBlue was so clean, and the JetBlue here, we did another 9 EMA. So with all the 3 trades that we did, the first trade we were done, less than I think 5 minutes into the open, and the other 2, AAL and JetBlue, we did the 9 EMA as well. So just imagine, just for today, we only did a 9 EMA play and we got 3,500 or 3,400. So what I saw with AAL is the same thing. 9 EMA, you have a huge gap down, you're waiting for a strong resistance to trade off of, and that strong resistance preferably is a 9 EMA. So a huge gap down, 9 EMA, here is all the way up here. So still not an A plus setup, unlike our GM trade, and we take that into consideration. If it's not an A plus setup, then we only get to put not a huge of a share size, unlike the GM that we did a bigger share size, but at the sign of reversal, preferably at the 5 minute, where the previous candlestick is this candlestick right here. The next candlestick setup there is you go once it forms and breaks the support of this previous candlestick. So I went short here. Stop loss, of course, is the high of the day, and that one was just an easy trade, and this one was I like this trade. So short right here, and then partial at the VWAP, and then trailing my stop. The thing with trailing our stop tightly is you get stop out easily. So I got stop out there before it did the run, but totally fine with that. We left more than 10 cents in the table, but it is still a green trade. So green is green, so we'll take what the market gave us. And then again, the GM1, what we saw here was another 9 EMA trade, where let's just put it in this chart so it's clearer. So the 1 minute, so we started trading GM at 9:38, so 8 minutes into the market open, and we were already up by almost 2K. So 9:38, so 8 minutes. So with GM, this is the A plus setup here. We were just still putting in our pre-market high and low when we saw this. So this triggered us to do long. So I started to have a long position, and 50% out here, trailing my stop, got stop out before it moved another 40 cents. Totally fine with that. Now it's just consolidating. So right now with this GM, there's no trades to take there because we are just under consolidation. And look at the 15 minutes. The 15 minutes looks not clean at all. So those are the trades that we did. So overall, 3 stocks that we traded, all 3, we did a 9 EMA, and all 3, one is a gap up. So of course, obviously that would be a long. 2 gap down, obviously that would be a short, but we did a 9 EMA play. So ending the day, 1 hour of trading, and we are up by 3,500, and that's it. So if you guys have any stocks that you're currently watching, please put it under the comment. We can analyze those stock and see whether it is a potential for a good, or is it a good mover. Right now, just looking at what else is out there, and GM just consolidating. Spot is about to break the high of the day. AMD created a new high of the day. Meta just had a pullback, and Microsoft is still trending higher. Tesla not the cleanest. AAL is still going below the VWAP here. So with AAL, the thing that also throws me off was this one. So this one was a giveaway. This is a very bearish. You have a big candlestick. That's the reason why I started trading AAL, although in the 5 minutes it is not ready yet for a short. But since it gave me this trigger, big volume bar, the 1 minute looking like it's a short, so I started shorting it and I got stopped out because of it went, created a new high of the day, shorted again, and yeah, this one was a mess. But we were able to capture that move and added a big position right here because of this anomaly right here. So it's pretty much just putting in together all the strategies that we know of, which is, you have your 9 exponential moving average, you got your VWAP right there, you got the volume price analysis, which is very clear right here. And those are the things that I like seeing when things like all the stars are lining up. I like those. So yeah, for those of you guys who are asking on where to begin on how to day trade for a living, please check our website out. And that website, you can see our syllabus. If you click on day trading, then you will see the link below, our syllabus all the way down here. Please feel free to check that one out. We add to our syllabus, to our content weekly, so learning never stops. And we do have our trade recap right here, which needs to be updated. But yeah, trade recap is there as well, so you can check that one out. We do have our free top trading strategy here. I think that's a 20 pages PDF form that you can download for free just to see whether is that your top trading strategy as well. And yeah, we're venturing out into real estate as well. So yeah, the best time to invest in, and always as an investor, you want to manage your portfolio by having different forms of investment. So could be in real estate, could be in stocks as well. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. If you guys have questions, please feel free to email us. We'll be more than happy to help you guys and reply to those email. And thank you so much for watching. We'll do this again next week. So every Tuesday we are live. So the next time that we're going to be live is April 30th. And that would be the last day of the month. April just went so quickly. And we're already at that last Tuesday of the month next week. So thank you so much for watching. And I hope you guys had a green trading day. And if we can help you guys out with any day trading questions, please feel free to email us out. I know it's a tough world out there, most especially for day traders. There's so many options that you get to take as a day trader. So I've been there, lost a couple of thousands with as a day trader starting out. But with everything, with persistence as well as dedication and focus, definitely those hard work will pay off. But you really just have to be patient with yourself, as well as take every day as a learning. You always want to take every day as a chance to learn. So as long as you're learning and you're really applying what you've learned and making sure that you always apply those 3 strategies in day trading, which is risk management, a very big thing. You get your stop loss there. Always respect your stop loss. You have your strategies. For us, we only did 9 EMA and we got 3,500. So it doesn't have to be fancy. As long as it works, you just have to rinse and repeat it. And of course, your psychology in trading is very important as well. With us, we get to see that psychology when I was having that 3 stabs. And with that, I needed to lean on having and protecting my capital by securing that profit. So even if I was trading off of my P&L, that's totally fine, because we are doing this and for longevity. We wanted to stay and protect. Our number one thing is protecting our capital. So with that, I hope you guys get something out of this. We are recording and we are live every Tuesday. So we are here to help those who are starting as well as those who does not see any consistency with trading. The thing about day trading is it gives us a good potential, the profit is there as long as you have the discipline to follow it. So with that, thank you again for watching, and yeah, we'll do this again next Tuesday. Bye for now. Hi, my name is Mary and I'm a day trader. So what do you value the most? Is it family? Is it your relationship? Is it health? Is it growth? Or maybe a status? Or maybe a popularity? Is it achievement? Or is it security? Is it fulfillment? Or is it a passion? Is it a relationship, adventure, being creative, being able to do what you want at your own terms? Or just loving what you do? Exploring the world, giving back, serving. Now the list can go on and on. What's the common denominator here? All of this require time. And if we will spend 90,000 hours at work, which is the average number of hours a person works in their lifetime, then who has the time to do all this? 24 hours in a day isn't coming to an end. 24 hours is all that we're going to get. Now, wish you could have more time so you can focus on what matters most. What would you do if you have more time in your hand? What would you do if money is not the driving force for you to work? What if you have to get up in the morning, not because you have to clock in at work? What if you have to roll out of your bed to do what you love to do? For instance, for you to travel, spend time with your loved one, follow your passion, maybe do a volunteer work. Did you ever dream of reclaiming more time in a day, or ever wanted to start your own business so you can experience more autonomy, not having to report to a boss, and having the liberty to make your own decision or your own schedule? And I am not talking about retirement. Every day, we get a fresh 24 hours to make that decision on how we would spend that 24 hours. Every day, we are in a crossroad. Our decision will determine our future. In day trading, you can reclaim more time from your day by cutting the working hours to less than 10 hours per week, so you can focus on what matters most. Because honestly, for some, that 10 hours is only their commute time per week to work. After all, we all have seen this ad before. So reclaim more time through day trading so you can focus on what matters most. After all, we are all in a borrowed time, so make it count. Click the link below to learn how to day trade for a living. Hi, my name is Mary and I'm a day trader. So what do you value the most? Is it family? Is it your relationship? Is it health? Is it growth? Or maybe a status? Or maybe a popularity? Is it achievement? Or is it security? Is it fulfillment? Or is it a passion? Is it a relationship, adventure, being creative, being able to do what you want at your own terms? Or just loving what you do, exploring the world,